Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Okay, Batwoman. Now, Batwoman premiered first episode 1.8 million, and it's dropped 20% to 1.3 million. Now, Supergirl started with 1.3 million and is down to 0.97 million, so less than 1 million. So why are these shows not doing well? Now, Supergirl last year did 1.2 million for the average, which is below Arrow and The Flash, which were 1.5 and 1.7 million. So why is the show not doing well? For all the publicity, all the press, all the attention it was getting, it should be getting more viewers, but it's not. Now, a lot of people, I think, watched the first episode just to see how bad it was, and then they went to Rotten Tomatoes and reviewed it. And I don't think it was review bombed, because I think to review bomb something, you have to specifically give something a bad rating just because of a political or personal reason, not because you actually don't like the show. A lot of the people who should be supporting the show have given the show mixed reviews. So it may not just be a matter of the political issues with the show. It might just not be very good, because I'm finding it very hard to find anyone saying the show, the quality of the show, the writing, the acting, the story are actually particularly good. So it may just be that simple. But I think the main issue is they've alienated their target audience, their existing fan base, by going after a different audience. Their target audience is females, and women just don't watch superhero shows and action shows. And I think they had the idea that if you build it, she will come. That women don't watch these shows because there aren't women in them, and they're being alienated by a lack of women, and that's just not the case. Women just aren't that interested in action and superhero shows, and making a show about a superhero who's a woman wasn't going to make them any more interested. And in doing that, and in marketing that for women, you've done it in a way that alienated men and alienated the actual fan base. And basically, this, you may think that that's an exaggeration and I'm being a bit ridiculous, but Ruby Rose literally said as much when she was asked about criticism from outside the fan base, outside of the LGBT community. I mean, she said, some people will love the show, some people might be surprised to find that they really enjoy it, and some people might not see themselves on the screen and therefore not see the point in the show. But there's obviously plenty of shows for people like that. There's plenty of shows for white old men. So basically, she said, the show is not for you. Go away. We don't want you. You're not our audience. So we don't need white men. So they basically did the same thing Brie Larson did for Captain Marvel. That movie was decent, but the marketing was, it's a feminist piece of activism, and only, women are welcome and men, we don't need old white dudes. Basically, Brie Larson's did a whole no white dude speech. And I know she didn't literally say that, but that was the message that she was putting across. And they seem to try the same style of marketing for this show, and it didn't really pay off, because there just isn't an audience for it. There just isn't an audience. Females just aren't that interested in action and superhero movies, and you can make a show for an audience, but you can't make the audience appear. You can't create the audience from nothing. So, and I mean, there was also a lot of criticism from the gay community, the LGBTQ community, because they didn't think she was gay enough. They didn't think she was lesbian enough. They didn't like that she wasn't Jewish. And a lot of the mainstream audience media came out and said, no, this is wrong. You don't need to be the character to play the character. You can represent, you can act, you play the role and act the character and represent the certain people without actually having to be that. So I feel like she kind of turned on those people and then turned around and said, well, we're not making the show for men. You're not welcome, basically. We don't, there's other shows for you. Go watch other shows. And I think they did. Now, I think a lot of people just watch the show to hate watch it. I don't think it was review bombed. I think basically people just didn't like the show and they wanted to voice their opinion because they want the studio to understand they don't want another Batwoman. So there's not much more to say. I want to keep this to 5 minutes. If you've got any views, if you've got any opinions, if you think I'm right or wrong, feel free to let me know. Feel free to like or subscribe. Basically, I'm not surprised the show isn't doing well. I'd be surprised if they were surprised, because you can't have a show and a genre for an established audience, fan base, alienate that fan base in favor of a fictional, imaginary, theoretical, hopeful fan base, audience, and just hope they show up, and then be surprised if they don't. So I don't have a lot of sympathy, and I'm going to watch the show. Get series. I liked Supergirl first season. I liked it. I haven't watched the rest. I've heard the political agenda has come in and ruined the show. I don't know if that's a fair criticism, because I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to watch it and see how I feel. But it'll be interesting to see how this show goes. Some people are saying it's going to be a one-season wonder. It's going to get cancelled because it's not doing well. They have to make money. They have to sell merchandise. And the people that they targeted the show towards, they will be vocally loud and get behind an argument and say, we want diversity, we want representation, and they'll push hard for it in the press and in the media and social media, but they won't actually support it. They're not actually going to watch the show. They think it should exist for political reasons, but they're not actually interested in it in any real terms. They're not actually going to watch it. So I think that's what happened. The audience they thought was there because they were vocal actually wasn't there. So we'll see if it manages to attract an alternative audience, or whether it just keeps sinking in the ratings. But I'm going to leave that there, and we'll see what happens. Thanks, bye.